They say you don't become a witch. That it's just one day you wake up and realize that's what you've always been. The one that doesn't always fit in. The one that likes the woods, the sun and sky, cats, owls, and the moon. The one who stays up late reading books, playing role-playing games, and learning the names of the stars. The one that likes to wear black eyeliner, capes. And then you realize, oh, that's what I am. I'm a witch.
Hey, so good to be here. Lady Belladonna LaVeau, the Archpriestess of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church, with my beautiful friend and sister, Lady Lola Stardust, Children of the Crossroads in Spokane, Washington.
Hello.
So great to be with you today, Lola.
I'm so glad to be here.
We're going to talk about sage today, the sage, which is not the same as
sage.
Yes. Yeah. We're going to talk about the sage. The stage is a state of being. But before we do, Lola, you got to tell us about this cool event that you got coming up. I'm hearing so much about. I want to know why I haven't been invited personally.
Oh, well,
I talk all the time.
Invited. My goodness. I'll make a personal invitation for you. So here in Spokane, Washington, we are having our second annual Northwest Pagan Fest. Last year we had it, and we had about 1,000 people show up. Not all at once, but throughout the day. The count was about 1,000, and we already outgrew our space that we were at. So now we're holding it at Spokane Community College in the Student Lair building, and outside of the building they got the beautiful outdoor stage. It is September 23rd. It is from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's free. There will be bands, and there will be workshops, and there will be crafts, and there will be, there's just so much stuff. There's going to be a Viking reenactment. The Viking Society here in Spokane, they're going to do a reenactment. There's going to be belly dancing. Just all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I think I want to go. Dusty, I think I want to go to the what is it called? The Pacific Northwest?
We're the Inland Northwest.
Inland Northwest? So it's just Tell me again.
Inland Northwest. Spokane. Oh, sorry. The Northwest Pagan Fest.
That's the one. So it's just Northwest. It's not Pacific Northwest. It's just Northwest Pagan Fest.
Northwest Pagan Fest.
What a cool name. It's like Northwest Pagan Fest. It's kind of like I was saying, we're live at 5.
Yeah.
It's like one of those Northwest Pagan Fest. I love it. Sounds like a pagan pride setup, but without, culturally appropriating the, word pride.
It was originally supposed to be a pagan pride, but things came up where I guess we're not allowed to use that name. And so the lady that created it said, let's call it Northwest Pagan Fest.
I love it. I think it's better. Yeah, I think it's better. I don't like using the pagan pride term because I think it takes away from the pride as it was originally intended.
Yeah,
so I love the picnics and the pagan fests, and because that's ours. That we're not borrowing that from anybody. So good job.
Yeah,
so how do you get there? Where is it? How do you find out more about that? Is there like a link?
Yeah, there's on Facebook. If you look up Northwest Pagan Fest, there's actually a page, and there's a website, northwestpaganfest.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have Hecate Sickle Festival, pagans. When you're coming into October, it's like, there's a lot of stuff going on. So there's Hecate Sickle Festival, which is the first weekend in October. It's the Thursday through Sunday, 5th through the 8th. And that is right at the SeaTac Hilton Convention Center. It's right at the airport. You can throw your luggage to the hotel and catch the shuttle right there to it.
Yeah.
And And it's everything you ever need. We're doing Love Animal Familiars this year. I just talked to the Woodland Zoo. They're showing up at 3 o'clock on Saturday. I'm so excited. There's going to be so much fun. So sickle.me is the easy link. It'll take you to another link, but the easy link is sickle.me because it's like tickle me Elmo. Sickle.me.
Sickle.me, Elmo. Don't add the Elmo. You might get something else.
That's an arch priest trick that I learned from Pete. It's like use things that are associated with something else and people will remember them easier. So
absolutely. Well,
yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited. It's fall. It's autumn. This is when us witches start to
come home.
Come out and just be like, okay, it's the dark time of the year.
Spend some time with family.
Yep.
Get around the other witches, do some shopping, support your community, buy your Yule gifts at your pagan festivals where you've got your vendors because you can get all your Yule stuff out and you're supporting people that you know and love instead of big corporations that,
And there's I think there's 30, 40 vendors, I believe, at our Northwest Pagan Fest. Lots of awesome vendors.
So exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. So we're excited.
Same thing. We've got a really awesome vending room at the hotel, and I'm so excited because I love to see all of the great things that people have to offer.
Oh, yeah.
Witches come up with some cool stuff.
Oh, God, they do. I got last year at Pagan Fest, I got the coolest little broom. It's red and black bristles, and it just reminded me of the dark time of the year with the red and the black. And that vendor's going to be there again. And there's also a reader healing room. We're going to have people doing Reiki and reading cards and all the things. So yeah, we're really excited. It's the second one. We're going to keep doing it every year. And hopefully as it gets bigger and we get more, because it's a nonprofit. So we do a lot of fundraisers for Northwest Pagan Fest throughout the year. So hopefully we can make it a 2-day thing. We did find some property that we can do a camping thing. There's so I'm excited for the future.
Yes, that sounds like, the future's going to be very bright. It's the Pagan Renaissance.
Of course it is.
It is. It's the Pagan Renaissance. One of my students said that the other day. She's like, oh, the Pagan Renaissance. And I went, oh, yes, that's what it is. It's the Pagan Renaissance.
It is.
So, totally yes. Well, speaking of learning from those who have gone before, let's talk about the sage.
The sage.
Let's
look at this lovely sage. Look at him.
Oh.
Look at how wise he looks.
He looks wise. You know what, you guys? I'm going to have to.
Yeah, but I can zoom in too. Look at that. Look at the zoom.
I love the zoom feature. So he's got picture of his son and his grandson on the wall. No, old adventures on the wall. So those are memories of his.
Yep.
And then it's, of course, midnight, which is the time of the sage. He's got on his pajamas, his bedtime robes, reading and studying the ancient wisdom. He's a certified mentor.
I know. Isn't that cool?
That's fantastic. I want to turn my sound down before I get interrupted. Okay. Yes. And then
I love that if you guys have been watching, you can see that when we talked about the last one we talked about was in the faces of the goddess was the crone, and they live in the same house. They have the same house, the same window with the snow.
Oh yeah. You think, I see that. What are the spots on his beard and hair all about?
I believe that's part of his, because he was a redhead. He's the one and that's the red still kind of coming.
I get it now.
Remember the horned one and the green man? It's the same person that she drew. It's aging. Yeah.
I have a memory of a sage and a priest having a conversation. And the sage said, "Hey, priest, how you doing today?" And the priest said, "I'm busy." And he said, "Yeah, what all have you done today?" And the priest looks at him. He's got an armful of wood he's taken to the fire pit. And he says, "I've been working all day putting this event on. And I'm going to be working all day putting this event on. I am busy. Why do you ask?" And he said, because you're a priest and I'm a sage. And I just wanted to tell you that the difference is you know what I did? I got this morning, I had coffee and a cigarette, and I watched television, and I took a walk, and I found myself here talking to you. You have a nice day.
Oh,
that's the difference.
That's the difference. Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so true, though. Because when you get to the stage point in your life, you kind of just you slow down a little bit. You're able to look around and observe and watch all the people kind of rush around and get all worked up, and you just stand back and go, yeah, I remember I used to do that. And as you're drinking your coffee and in your rocking chair, just watching them.
Back when I used to chase the dollar around.
Yes, I remember back in my day. Sometimes I feel like a sage because I use the back in my day term a lot.
But the difference in the stage that we're in is we're still very much in we've got to save the planet, make the world a better place, make a difference, make it safe for our kids, make it, we've got goals. Whereas the sage is really focused on enjoying every last moment of time with his loved ones and on the beautiful earth and growing plants.
Yeah, because they get to reap what they sow. They don't need that hustle and bustle. They've done it. And they can mentor someone who's doing it now. Do you think Pete was Pete your sage?
Yes. Well, I mean, I have been blessed with several male role models that have been truly wonderful in my life. But Pete was by far the most influential in that sagely kind of way. Pete taught me a lot about, and Pete still hangs out. They used to think that Pete haunted the ATC, and then they figured that Pete haunted me because they see him whenever I'm around, not necessarily at the house. And he's just always there, still guiding me. Before he passed, I said, Pete, I'm a witch. I talk to the dead. Just hang out and tell me what to do. I'm happy for the advice. And he still does. And every once in a while, he'll give me really clear schematics on how he wants things built, and then I can relay the information, and the guys get all excited because it happens. But even when he was alive, he would have all of this amazing advice because he'd done it before and he knew what worked. And now Pete was a brilliant man. Pete, he would say, if you do it my way, it will work, and if you do it your way, results will vary. Mm-hmm. And that's, man, it was true. It was so true because he knew where the rubber met the road because he had done so much. And I know how that feels to some degree, certainly not his level. I'm still surrounding myself with experts and hoping that I make the right choices. But, sometimes you can look back on what the 20-year-olds are doing and what your kids are doing. You can be like, oh, yeah, I get that. I get that feeling. You can look back younger than you and you can go, oh, and you feel that sage energy. It's just you're not there yet. You can savor it, but you're not fully there yet. But I also think that the sage does not miss the hustle and bustle. They're not interested in going out and dancing on Friday night. No. They don't want to.
Well, I've got some really cool little key words that make me think of the sage. I've got wise, patient, experience, teacher, well-read, at peace, wizard. Yeah, like all these key words that I see in the sage. Your father's, your grandpa's, maybe your first coven teacher was your sage. But yeah, it's this very, I mean, wise. It's just very wise. You look at these people and you're like, you can see, like we talked about with the crone, every wrinkle, every scar, every gray hair tells a story. And that's something to be proud of. I like that in our pagan community, we really honor the elders in our community. We honor age and wisdom. I can't wait to have all of that. I mean, I'm a little vain, I don't know if you know this about me, Bella, but I'm a little vain. I like my makeup and my lipstick. I'm not wearing it today, but
I don't think you're vain. I don't think you're vain. I've got other words for that. I don't think you're vain.
Okay. All right. But I do enjoy watching myself age. I really do. I like the crow's feet. I like the laugh lines because I look at them and I'm like, that tells a story. And that's what I think of with the sage. There's a story to be told in everything they do, how they look, how they walk, how they talk. Sometimes how they just sit and listen and nod. I feel I just love that. I can't wait to be that person.
There's so much that to be said for having done it over and over and over again, to where you can just Dusty and I were having a conversation this morning where he was like, I've just seen so many people do this same pattern over and over, and you just have to stand there and watch because there's not anything you can do but stand there and watch. And the sage knows that it's going to happen, and they just
it's I back in my day, I was a party girl, and I went to the clubs and I went to the bars, and I had my group of friends. And so every once in a while now at 51, I might go out. I don't really go to bars and clubs anymore, but I might go meet a friend for a drink or and then I will see a group of people that are in their 20s, and I can almost tell you, oh, that's the funny one in the group. That's the promiscuous one in the group. That's the smart one in the group. Because it's the same thing that my group of friends did, that before us, there was always a group of friends that were the same thing. And you watch it over.
Patterns repeat themselves. Well, that's the Saturn. That's the Saturn energy, though. That's that Capricorn Saturn energy, the midnight, the sage energy of, I can see the patterns. I recognize this pattern. And you see it in the Disney movie Fantasia when the goddess is growing old and young and old and young and old and young. You see the pattern over and over again. And it's really beautiful because we're all part of a cycle, right? It's an immortal cycle. And you get to dance the dance as artfully and as beautifully and expressively as you desire to. And then you get to go to sleep for a little while and then do it all again.
Do it all
again. And the sage, I think the sage knows that,
Oh, yeah. That's why when, sometimes society makes elderly people or older people feel very irrelevant. And if you sit and talk to someone who's seen it all and done it all, oh my gosh, just in the first 5 minutes, you could learn a lot about life. And there is this calmness and this gentleness. Not always, though. I mean, I've met some sage-like people that will just tell it like it is. They're not very gentle. They're just like, oh,
they're still fiery.
Yeah.
They still got plenty of spunk.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but they're not afraid of death. They're not afraid of dying. They have time. And they make wise use of their time because they're very conscious of time. And so they try to get all of their wisdom written down, and they try to pass down the knowledge that they have. They have time to take you fishing, whereas they didn't have time to take you fishing when they were 40 because they had to go to work every day, and then they had to clean the house, they had to cook, and they had to do all these things. When you're a sage, you have time to enjoy the moment.
Yes. And it's funny because I was just talking to my husband about, we get I try so hard to tell people to be in the moment and enjoy the moment, because you're never going to have another moment like this. So what we are doing right now, Bella, we're in a wonderful moment, and I want to appreciate it. I don't want to think about, oh, I got to get dinner done, or I got to make sure I just want to be present. And it's hard to do that sometimes because we are in the hustle and the bustle. And when you reach that age of the sage or the crone, they just know how to do it because they learn that
Practice.
you don't have very many moments left as you get older. So
Well, I've had sages tell me that every day that you wake up, you say, "Hey, how's your day going?" And they'll go, "Every day that you wake up on this side of the ground is a good one." You know, and it's, oh, okay, well, how do you really respond to that? It kind of throws you off, but
yeah, but it's true.
It's a real sobering thought, though. And Dusty said when he invokes Zeus, that Zeus is very conscious of how little time there is to do the things that need to be done.
Yeah,
and it makes you feel your mortality.
Oh gosh,
like,
yeah.
Oh God, there's no time. I watched him go through that. So, but I think sages have done the things that they want to do, and now they just have time to give back.
Yeah.
And that's a really lovely thing. It's really good to have old people and young people together because you can make the difference in the life of a child that just radiates throughout their entire life.
Mhm.
You can give them those nuggets, the really pure, important things.
Yeah.
Because, you take and incorporate that change, and it starts out small, but it makes bigger and bigger ripples as you apply those principles into your life. So the more you can get young people and the older people together, the better it is for our civilization.
Well, and I am very envious of people who have grandparents in their life because my grandparents died when I was pretty young. And then the one grandma that died when I was in my 20s, I didn't really see her a lot. She lived in New Mexico, and I probably met her maybe 3 times my whole life. So it was really, really important for me to have my kids um, be a part of my parents, their grandparents' life. And I would tell them, that relationship between the grandparent and their grandkid is so special. And my kids really appreciate that. My dad just passed away, but my oldest son had a very close relationship with my dad. That was his papa, that was his buddy, and watching their relationship was really, really beautiful and really special. And they have it with my mother too. And so I never had that. And so I try to instill in my kids that it's so important to listen to what the grandparents have to say.
I am thinking about how blessed I am that I grew up with both sets of grandparents all the way into my 20s. Like my great grandfather got to meet my children. I only lost one grandparent that didn't get to meet my children. And that's really a beautiful thing. I had the first 7 years of my life, I was just sit back between grandparents. And I always thought that was kind of like, my parents were young. They were 18 and 20. They were not ready to settle down. So I spent all that time with my grandparents, but it really helped me in the long run. I got a lot out of those years. And then moving back into when my parents had their second kid, they decided that they were ready to settle down and have a family. And I kind of stayed with them more.
Yeah.
And it was very different, that energy from the everything's chill, everything's got a routine, everything's in its place, to chaotic parental life. It's very different.
Yeah. Well, and I know people I know a lot of people who were raised by their grandparents. And when the grandparents step in and take care of their grandchildren, that's a big step because, if you think about it, grandparents, they're done raising kids.
Yes.
For them to step in and take care, that's a huge.
Well, I was adorable. William. Hey, William. I just got to meet William this last week at Pagan Night Out. We had a really great time. He says he absolutely agrees. The relationships he had with his grandmother, who passed 2 years, was just so unmatched. And he treasures every moment he had with her and misses her every day. He 100% agrees.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah,
so envious of that. I didn't have that. And, but, I have what do you call them, like foster grandparents or
yeah,
my spiritual grandparents that I look to and listen to. My high priestess, she in my old coven, she was very grandma like to me and had a lot of wise wisdom to pass on, and that made me feel really special. And so yeah, you can adopt grandparents, your spiritual
you can,
grandparents.
you
Yeah.
can.
Yep.
I
So
think as priestesses, we adopt people all the time.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
well, I got these cool notes here because I've done these discussions before, and I had asked the question: who do you think is would represent sage, like deities or historical figures or even archetypes in TV or movies? Who would you think is that sage? You brought up Zeus,
Gandalf.
um, Gandalf, yeah, yeah,
Gandalf,
Gandalf,
sure. And
Dumbledore,
then Sean Connery.
yes, just
Oh,
Sean Connery, just him,
oh. And
yeah.
then Harrison Ford comes across as a pretty awesome sage too.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
I love Obama. Obama in his sage years is really still hip and awesome,
Yeah,
but way chill and laid back and not, he's always been really chill, but I like him in
someone
his sage years.
someone brought up Gibbs on NCIS. I don't watch the show, but apparently that's Mark Harmon's character. Someone also said Yoda or Obi-Wan.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and then what deities? We have Zeus. Would you say what about Hearn or Odin?
See, I think of Odin as a king more
Okay.
than more than a sage. Although I guess he brought us through. I mean, Odin Allfather, right? It's
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to categorize them because the the Norse deities are ancestral deities, so they at times they fit into all the categories just like we do as humans. Who else as a sage?
Well, I
But
think
that Zeus, I consider Zeus a king too.
yeah, yeah. I've got
Santa Claus,
Santa Claus. Yes, yeah. Merlin.
Merlin.
Yep. Yeah. There's a whole bunch, and then I feel like uh, this is interesting. I've got Dumbledore. I got Shakespeare. Someone said Shakespeare.
Dumbledore for sure.
Dumbledore. Yeah.
Shakespeare. I don't know.
Shakespeare. Yeah. Someone wrote that. I just copied and pasted from our chat. So
I think Shakespeare was a magical name.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had the Shakespeare, like he's writing so fast that, and spear,
Oh.
yeah, and
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I think that he was, I think he was a priest of some sort. He was magical in some sort.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, the
You
stuff he
gotta,
wrote.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I just trying to think of other sages.
Well, here's one. What do you think you can do magically to access sage energy?
Sit and be still.
Yeah, that's what it says here too. Sit and listen.
Sit and be still.
Yeah,
It's the energy of midnight. The energy of the darkness requires you to sit and listen and be with yourself and just breathe. Sometimes it's really difficult to just sit and be with ourselves and breathe.
yeah. I know. And I think sage energy would be really good for people who have that trouble of sitting still. I know so many people, ADHD is so everywhere. Everyone has it practically.
Well, it's the 1 minute videos. It
Yeah,
ruins
yeah.
your attention span.
And
If you
so
can't teach it to me in a minute, I don't want to learn it.
well, and there's, but you know how some people have a hard time sitting alone with their thoughts? or they don't want it because they have to constantly talk or fill the air with noise because they don't want to be silent. I mean, I've done that. And
me too.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I started doing when I held the vessel of Hecate a few years ago for Spring Mysteries, I made a little shrine or a little altar thing. It was in the middle of winter, and it was in our back patio, and I had a table, and I put some Hecate things, and it was during some really like cold, heavy snow, and I would sit back there in the cold, and how I connected with her was the silence of the winter, because snow muffles the sound and winter is so silent. And I would just sit there, even living in the middle of the city. That silence was it was loud. The silence is loud. Does that make sense? It was
It
so,
does.
yeah. And that was my way of communing with her and learning to listen and just be silent. And I would do that every morning for about 10 minutes. That was what I would do. And I'd light my little Hecate candle, and I just would sit and listen to the silence. And it was at first it was really difficult because I'd get kind of antsy, and I'd be like thinking, oh, I gotta go get breakfast, or I gotta do this with the kids, and I started just be in the silence and just listening to silence. I think it is a wonderful practice to do for anybody. You don't have to be sage, just anyone who needs to learn to listen and be silent.
Yes. One of our viewers asked, would the example have to be male? And I'm thinking, of course not. No.
Yeah, but these are never gender specific. This is energy that we are working with. It just the symbol of it is male or projective, but it can be any gender.
We like to use projective and receptive.
Yeah,
that's what we like to use.
Yeah,
but I mean, projective has been male historically, and receptive has been female historically in general. But witches are magical creatures and are not limited to the usual in any kind of way.
No, we're not even limited within our within our bodies.
We embrace variety, and we embody variety.
Yeah.
So somebody wrote, none of our viewers have a good free pagan event near them. I don't know how true that is. We just had Pagan Night Out and last Thursday, but let's find out what good pagan events are available for people. Because I know the Aquarian Tabernacle Church has Pagan Night Outs once a month, which is hosted by LaVeau. That was a lot of fun.
What do you do for Pagan Night Out? Is it something different every time?
We met at a restaurant and had dinner together, and Dusty was brilliant. He had these really fun games, and people won prizes and stuff like that. We had a lot of fun, and we met some new people, and we got to hang out on a weeknight, and just have a meal together. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was free, but I mean, if you wanted to eat, then that cost something, but you didn't have to, right?
Yeah.
And Julio's was the name of the restaurant. William said William was there, and we had a lot of fun with William. And
so cool.
It was great. And then, of course, we have events at the Mother Church the first and third Saturday of the month at 7 p.m. Right? And then Lola, you have some in Spokane. What do you do?
Yeah, we have every month. One of my coven sisters, she runs a group called Spokane Magical Moot, and once a month we do They do a moon ritual or a craft or whatever. It's pretty much once a month, and we get a good group of people that show up. It's usually at a library. We usually get one of the rooms, the meeting rooms in the library, and we also have several pagan groups here that do pizza nights, and they do movie nights. So we have a few pagan groups that do monthly things to
That's so
people
exciting.
together. Yeah.
It's the pagan renaissance. We have online things with the ATC too. We're just about to start an online movie night because I like to discuss afterwards, like with my kids, I'd always discuss the moral of the story. We just watched Barbie, and then we got to discuss the many multi-layered morals of the story, right?
Yeah,
It was a good movie. And it occurred to me that, not everybody does that. So we're going to start having movie night online so that we can do it with everybody and they don't have to leave their house, and we can have discussions afterwards about the magical implications and all that stuff.
We do a lot of online stuff too. Children of the Crossroads every week. We do our Seeker's Path. We do devotionals every day. We were doing movie nights too, but I had to take a break from stuff. Sometimes I got to take some stuff off my plate.
Yeah,
and put new
sometimes you got to take a break.
Yep.
It's October, so now's the time to change things if you're feeling like changing things, right? I mean, that's just the season. To every season, there is, what is it?
Are you thinking of the song Turn, Turn?
Turn, yeah.
Yeah. Every season, turn. Yep.
He's offering Galadriel from Tolkien as a sage to personify the wise woman, offering aid.
Yeah.
I
like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So if you got this card, Bella, today in an oracle reading, what would it mean for you today if you got it?
Well, if I got this card, I would focus on the fact that he's holding a book that says Ancient Wisdoms, because I recently had someone that I'm studying with. I meet and study with somebody every Thursday. And he said, I would call this the Ancient Wisdoms. So he just said that to me. And then I saw that on the book, and he's a sage. And so that's kind of fun. I was like, all right, so I should make sure that I appreciate his contribution into my life. And I should recognize that there's a lot of sages in my life that help guide me and that I depend on when I'm in need. And I might not express my gratitude as much as I should. And so that's how I would do it. And I would probably call all them daddy figures and be like, hey, how you doing? Thanks for loving on me.
Yeah. For me, the first thing that popped in my mind was my dad, because my dad was a grandpa and had the white beard, and I've been thinking about him a lot since he passed away. But the other thing that came to my mind was I need to read again. I have not been reading for a while. I used to read like several books a week. I mean, I just would read, and I've got all these books that I've ordered that have come in, and they're just sitting on my shelf and I haven't opened them up. So just seeing him read, because that's my favorite thing to do, is learning the ancient wisdom. I need to fill my brain with information again. And so I want to start reading again. And it's funny because I just started reading The Restless Death. It's a book that talks about the Greek, their relationship with the dead and how they honored the dead. And it's really, really good. And I just started reading it a couple days ago, and then I put it down and got sidetracked, but I'm going to pick it up tonight and read it. So
yeah, I have gotten out of the habit of reading too. You have to pick a specific time and be like dedicated to it. And the time that works for me is that time between turning the television off and going to sleep.
Yep.
That's the time that works for me. So the older I get, though, the shorter that time is. It's like turn TV off, clunk.
I know. Well, I know. And I feel like I can't. I mean, 8:00 is my bedtime now. Are we turning into old people, Bella?
Maybe so. So it occurs to me that Terry Riley is a really good sage.
Yes,
Terry Riley is an excellent sage. So
yeah, that's a good one. Good example.
I guess there's Oberon Zell. He's the wizard, right?
Yeah, the wizard. Yep.
And there's.
It's always funny. It's these guys with the white beards too.
They all look the same, right? That's why they can all be Santa Claus. I know. it's funny because they start really all resembling, and all crones seem to have long, white, flowy hair like that kind of hair.
That's
I'm like,
my goal.
Selena Fox,
Yep.
right?
That's my goal is when I get, because my hair is getting pretty long and I'm letting the silver come through, and that's my goal. I'm like, when I'm
Looks beautiful.
of sage age, I want to have the long flowing silver hair. That's my goal.
I think we're all like moving towards a standard uniform.
I know. Well,
So yeah. Well,
yeah.
and I think that the sage, anytime you get a chance to, and we don't really think about doing that either, but anytime you get a chance to go to like an old folks home or to go visit an elderly person, sometimes we consider that wasted time. And there have been many times that a younger version of myself would be like, I don't understand why I would need to sit down with that person. But this version of me understands that there's a wealth of knowledge
Oh yeah.
inside that person that you don't access until they start talking and you start listening.
Yep. It's my dad, before he got really sick, he's he had dementia really bad, but I even think in the dementia that he had, it kind of took him back to a childlike state where he
Oh,
would just kind of say and do things, and it was kind of out of his character. But I feel like in that state of dementia or Alzheimer's, that what happens to the brain is, I'd like to think that they kind of connect to something different that's beyond our vision and beyond our recognition. Hello, puppy. Yes, I love you. And so he would just tell stories of things that I never heard him tell before, that he remembered. Like, he couldn't remember 5 minutes ago, but he remembered 60 years ago. And he would bring up these stories, and I just would sit and listen to him. And it was so, it was bittersweet. It was
yeah.
bittersweet. Yeah. But you can get so much, even if they're one, sandwich short of a picnic, when you get older, sometimes that happens in your brain, but they still have important things to say and important lessons to teach, because as we get older, yeah, our brain does tend to forget things, but there's certain things we hold on to, and you can learn a lot from that. My dog she decided to start talking.
She says it's 5:49, Mom. You should
I
start
know.
talking about how people are going to see more Lola Starr in their life.
Well, yeah, you could see more of me at Lola Stardust. You can email me at lolasstardust@wiccanseminary.edu if you want to become a student, because I am now taking private students. If you're a dog trainer, maybe you could. Hey, come here, sweetie. And also, again, on Discord, you can find me all over Facebook and our Discord channel. It's right there. We do a lot on Discord, a lot. So come visit me, say hi. We got a good group of people.
Yeah. My phone is always blowing up with your Discord stuff. It looks like y'all are having a blast over there. It's fantastic. And I am Lady Belladonna LaVeau, the Archpriestess of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church. And if you would like to contact me, get to know more about the church or the many things that we do, we have a youth organization, a seminary, a publishing house. I'm currently looking for a fashion designer to work with on a fashion show. That we're just doing a lot of stuff. So if my ministry is all about helping you forward your career and your magical career, like not your career as a secretary, but your magical career. So if you want to work with me, I'm easy to find on Facebook. My email is bella@atcwicca.org. atcwicca.org is our church website, and that is the hub from which you can find all of the other great things, including events that are coming up in your local area by local ATC people, including myself and Lola. And with that, I am so grateful for your time and energy today. Please smash that like button. Give us some love. Subscribe. Put those notifications on. We try to be here every Monday. Sometimes we can't make it, but it's always a big thing. It's not usually a flippant thing. So we hope to see you next Monday. We go live at 5.
Bye, everybody. My dog says goodbye.
Bye bye.